continue, everyone, that just gives us permission to do so.
Are we ready?
I think so.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us this morning. I'm Shelley Jewell. I'm the Director of Education Abroad at UW, and I'm joined by one of our advisors, Caitlin Emerson. So what we're going to talk about today is scholarships and funding opportunities available to you if you come to UW, because I'm not sure if we are welcoming students from high schools across the state, as well as our community colleges and our UW students. So these would be opportunities available if you come to UW, as well as some national scholarships that would be eligible wherever you end up going if you don't go to UW. So let's get started. All right. As I said, we'll be talking about UW scholarships in addition to program providers, and we'll talk a little bit about what those program providers are, our national scholarships that would be available to you, and then some important information and budgeting tips, and then some suggestions on other ways to fund your education abroad. Caitlin is our resident expert on those, so I will probably ask her to share some of her own personal experiences about ways she funded her study abroad. Also, we would love to take any questions throughout the presentation, so feel free to put those in the chat. We're happy to answer those. And then if you would like to be added to our email list where we send out information about future events, things that are happening within education abroad, just be sure to put your email in the chat as well. Right. We felt important to just mention, not that we don't hear enough about COVID-19, but we do want to make sure that everyone knows that that is something we take very seriously, given how much it has impacted our ability to send students abroad and to receive students here at UW. We are looking hopefully towards this summer with the potential of students going on individual programs this summer. We have canceled all of our faculty-led programs up until February 15th. And we are also really excited about the potential for sending students in the fall. Your safety is of utmost importance to us, and so we continue to monitor the situations around the world and where COVID is impacting places that our students would like to go. So that is something we take very seriously, and we wouldn't send students on programs if we didn't feel comfortable. So just keep that in mind. All right. Not sure if you all know, but we do have the largest endowment for study abroad scholarships of any public land grant institution in the United States. And that is thanks to former Vice President Dick Cheney and his wife, Lynn Cheney. So they endowed close to $5 million a little over 10 years ago to start the Cheney Scholarships. And so they felt it extremely important to encourage students to get out, to leave the United States and experience academic programs overseas. So that was the impetus for the Cheney program, and all in we've sent or funded a little over 2,000 students with the Cheney Award. So this is something that I think is amazing that we have here at the University of Wyoming, and we really want to encourage all students to take advantage of the Cheney Fund. So it is a competitive scholarship. We do ask that students have a 3.0 GPA. We can look at your institutional GPA, we can look at your cumulative GPA, but in either place, we do ask that you have a 3.0. And like with any scholarship that we're talking about today, the part where you are asked to write essays and answer questions is important. These questions and responses are reviewed by committees, and I think when you're applying for funding in the thousands, it's a good idea to spend a little bit of time on those essays. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but there are essays required for the Cheney, and there are actually 3 different Cheney Awards that students are eligible for. The first one is the grant, which we use to fund students for semester, summer, and year-long options. That award is up to $2,500. We typically award 25 to 30 students in each one of those application cycles for the Cheney grant. The faculty-directed Cheney grant is a grant that is less competitive. So we really are just looking to make sure that you have the GPA requirement, but the funding amount is less because these are to support students participating on our faculty-directed programs. And what those are programs that our own faculty teach. It's just University of Wyoming students participating on those. And they're typically 3-credit courses, and they take place in the J term, over spring break, or in the summer. About 70% of University of Wyoming students go on those faculty-directed programs, and we award around 250 students the faculty-directed Cheney grant. The fellowship is our largest of the Cheney Awards, and this is for students that are doing something more than just studying abroad. So those students that are doing research, interning, teaching, and those awards are a bit higher, up to $4,000. And then we do ask that students for this award have a 3.5 GPA. It is our most competitive because we're only offering 2 scholarships, one undergraduate student and one graduate student. I will say, I think we'd put it in the positive impact of COVID, because we haven't been able to send such large numbers of students abroad this academic year. We have a lot of Cheney funding to spend in the coming year. So we're looking at increasing the amounts of these awards. So if there is a student out there who's looking to go abroad in the next year, there will be an opportunity to receive a bit more of this Cheney funding. So don't let this one pass you by. And the deadlines for our scholarships are going to be the same date as the deadlines for our program application. So you just really need to keep that one date in mind. All right. Langlois is another scholarship specifically for students studying art history or the humanities. This is a really large award, up to $10,000. I think we've had some really amazing applicants apply to the Langlois, and we were able to fund up to a full semester of their experience. So if you are studying in one of these areas, really consider applying for the Langlois. You need to have a 3.25 GPA and at least 30 credit hours or sophomore standing. The deadlines for this one are October 15th and March 15th. And I think this is something, it was a gift from a former UW professor in honor of his wife. And so it has a really nice history behind it as well. Some other UWYO scholarships. So we have a great relationship with the credit union here in town. They give us a certain amount of funding each year that we're able to award students who go abroad. Arts and Science has 3 or 4 different scholarships that we can award students studying in the College of Arts and Science. We have a specific award for art majors, the Time, the Love Foundation for those speaking or looking to study French. The Muhlberg is for political science and communications majors. Religious Studies has a scholarship. And then also there are several awards within the College of Business. I think this slide just illustrates that there are funding opportunities out there within your own colleges or schools when you're studying at the university. So I encourage students to apply to as many of these opportunities that they're eligible for, because you never know, if you get a little bit of funding from one scholarship and another, it really all can add up, even to cover the cost of your plane ticket. So please, I say, cast a wide net and apply for as many as possible. All right, we work with a lot of organizations that we call program providers or partner providers. So what these organizations are, they have offices and centers and staff in locations all across the world. And so we're able to work with them to send students on programs that we don't have exchange relationships with, or our own faculty traveling on these programs. So it's a really great way for us to expand the network of opportunities available to our students. And it's a bit like alphabet soup when you look at the names of some of these providers. So CIE, AIFS, API, But what's wonderful is we are partners with these organizations, and that means that our students are then eligible for the scholarships that they provide. And so CIEE, being one of the largest program providers, also has one of the largest I guess, pools of funding for scholarships. And we've worked with students just in recent years who've been awarded up to $10,000 in some of the CIE scholarships. So in addition to applying for our own scholarships, if you're participating on a program provider, really consider applying for their awards. Some of them make you do it in the applications to their programs, so you don't have a choice. But this is just another way to add a bit more scholarship funding to your program. All right, we're going to talk about national scholarships. So these are really prestigious awards that it would be really great. Oh, I think Audrey has a question. All right, Audrey.
Hi, sorry. I guess I'm a little bit confused still what the program provider is. So like a specific college, like when you're applying to it, says we're part of this program provider. Is that what that is?
So when you're selecting which program to go on, we often are going to talk about program provider options, exchange options, direct enroll options, and then there are our own faculty directed programs. So it would be program providers have opportunities for semester programs and for summer. And so it's just another, I guess, I'm not explaining this great. Caitlin, feel free to jump in. Caitlin went on a provider program to Spain. So maybe share your experience.
Yeah, so the way that I like to explain program providers is that they kind of work as a middleman between our university and other universities and countries where we don't have direct partnerships. So it's a lot like an exchange, except for paying UW tuition and fees. So you have this middleman who's sort of putting the program together. They coordinate everything. They bring a group of usually American students together on a certain program affiliated with a certain university. You take classes through them. They coordinate cultural activities, excursions. They give you health travel insurance. You have a program director. I mean, they give you a lot of really on-ground support. So especially if like this is your first time traveling abroad, at least for me, going with a program provider made me feel a lot more secure because I had never been abroad before. So they really kind of help you from the application process to returning. So they help you with visas. If you need to apply for a passport, they're happy to help you, advise you on that. We can also advise you on that. But that's kind of what a program provider is in comparison to like an exchange where you would enroll in that school directly for a semester or a year and pay UW tuition and fees. Does that kind of explain that?
Yeah, I'm looking at do you guys know the University of Canterbury in New Zealand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to apply there, and I know that's not an exchange. So would that be a program provider? Sorry, I'm just like.
No.
But
So the other complicating thing is you could go there via a program provider, but we have a direct enroll relationship with them. So you would be applying directly to the University of Canterbury. And so that would not, in our case, be a program provider. It's structured similar to an exchange, except we're not bringing University of Canterbury students to UW.
Yeah. Okay.
I just put a link.
ISEP be like a program provider, like ISEP?
So ISEP is a consortium of exchange partners. So I know. And so you can, with ISEP exchange programs, you're paying University of Wyoming tuition and fees. And then there are ISEP direct programs where you're paying the tuition of the host university. So there's always going to be multiple ways to do this. And I'm sorry. So I think what we need to do is at the point in which you've determined where you want to go, which it sounds like Canterbury, then we talk through how much it's going to cost and how the cost structure is, and then the scholarships that you're eligible to apply for related to that program. Does that make sense?
And just to kind of add on to that, in the chat, everybody, I just posted, it's a website that we put together. It's interactive and it explains really well the difference between all of the different programs. I think it maybe outlines it a little bit more clearly than we are being right now. But if you have any questions and you're just interested in studying abroad, make an appointment to meet with one of us and we'll walk you through all of that individually. So it's going to be different for every student depending on what you're interested in and where you want to go and what you want to study. And that's something that your education abroad advisor will help you work on personally.
How do we make an appointment with someone to do that?
Yeah, I will also pop that link in the chat. Just
Perfect.
quickly. Basically, there's a site that has all of our names on it, and that site will enter or will explain who advises for which countries and which regions. And you can click on one of those people and schedule an appointment with us, or you can email, and I'll put that in the chat too, UWYOABD@uwyo.edu. Either one, whichever is easiest for you, is a good way to get in contact with us and start the process.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, of course, great question.
Yeah, thanks, Caitlin. But I think these questions really illustrate there's so many options, and that's what we're here for, is to help you narrow down those options and then find programs that are going to fit your financial situation and then apply for as many scholarships as you can to help fund those. So I don't feel like I want students to be limited by program choice because of their financial situation, because we do have multiple ways to help support you. All right, let's jump into some of our national scholarships. Critical Language Award is funded by the Department of State. This is a summer language program that the U.S. government has identified languages that are critical to U.S. interest. Those are listed there. And this is an intensive language program that provides cultural immersion experiences, and it's open to every student. And a lot of these languages have no previous language instruction required. So you could apply to a particular language that you're interested in studying, and you don't have to have had any experience with it. This program, I think, is a wonderful way for students to expose themselves to these unique languages, and it gives you preferential, I'm trying to think of the way they put it, job placement within the U.S. government. So it would give you a leg up after completing this program and graduation if you were applying to any U.S. government jobs. This is a prestigious award and one that they want to support students coming from all 50 states. So our Wyoming students have been very successful in applying for the critical language scholarships in recent years. The deadline for this one is the November before the summer you would like to go. So this is something I'll mention about these national awards, is that their deadlines tend to be earlier than our on-campus deadlines. So just make yourself aware that you're probably going to be applying in the fall semester to be doing things that following summer with these awards. Right, the Gilman Award. This one is the largest study abroad scholarship fund in the United States, also funded by the U.S. Department of State. This is for students who receive Pell Grants. So in order to be eligible for the Gilman Award, you must be Pell eligible at the time of application. The award is up to $5,000, and if you're studying one of those critical languages, then you can receive a $3,000 language award to be up to $8,000. This is another award that the U.S. government likes to see representation from all 50 states because we all pay taxes. So we'd like to have students represented from everywhere. We're having a scholarship workshop on Monday, February 22nd, where we're going to go through these applications, talk about tips for applying, really digging into how and when you should be applying for awards. March 2nd is the upcoming deadline for Gilman, and those are for programs that start between May 1st and then April 30th, 2022. These are going to be early for those students applying for those programs that are going to start next year. So they do have multiple cycles throughout the year that would touch on, fall, spring, academic year, and summer. But this is one where it's really, really great for Wyoming students to apply, and we've seen some really great numbers of students awarded. All right, the Boren Scholarship. This one is for students who want to study less commonly taught languages in world regions. This program funds students not only doing summer, like the critical language, but also those doing semester and for full academic year programs. So this is a really big award. We had one student who was awarded the Boren in the last cycle. It caters to students who are really interested in working in the federal government after graduation on security issues within the Department of Defense or within the State Department. So this opportunity is great for students who have those kind of career aspirations, and the deadline for this is going to be early February every year. We tend to have a few students who apply for this, and commonly one or two that are awarded every year. So this is a big award. I think it's something that we should see more and more students doing because of the amount of the award and the opportunities that it opens up within the U.S. government. Fund for Education Abroad is one that awards at least five up to $10,000 and 10 to 15 students a year. So this one is pretty competitive, but a great one to apply for as well. And it does have the minimum of asking that students will stay in country for 4 weeks. And this one also asks that the student is committed to supporting education abroad on their own campus and spreading the word. Right. So here are just a few tips and advice for these applications. It's really important. Both Caitlin and I have reviewed many a scholarship application. I've sat on the committee to review critical language and Gilman awards, as well as Fulbright awards. And this seems pretty simple, but you all should just answer the questions. Make sure that you answer all the questions that are in these applications and be as concise and clear about the connections between the study abroad opportunity and your personal academic and professional goals and interests. Most of these awards are going to ask that you have letters of recommendation. A lot of faculty are getting requests from students for these letters of recommendation. So try to make it as easy on them as possible. So that means providing them with an up-to-date resume or CV about all of the things that you're involved in and that you're doing, and then provide them with information about the study abroad program that you're looking to do and why this program is especially important to you. I think that those will help faculty write some really good letters of recommendation, in addition to not asking them the day before to write it. So be sure to give them some time, some lead time to write those letters of recommendation. It's super important to be specific in answering these questions. So many a time we see, I really want to travel, but why? And why is it important to you? And how is it going to help you in your future? I think some of these other ones, deadlines, super important. Be yourself. The more of these you write, the better you will become. And also be sure to have someone else proofread it and use the resources on campus within our office to help you get these essays really looking good before you submit. All right. So these are just some suggestions of other ways to fund, and this is where I'm going to have Caitlin share a little bit about what she did when she was looking to go abroad a few years ago.
Yeah, so like Shelly said, I studied abroad during my time at the University of Wyoming as an undergraduate student. I actually studied abroad twice, and both times I was able to get my program fees fully funded, which was really great. The first time that I went abroad, I went through a program provider for a semester, and I really tried to do everything that I could to be able to fund that education abroad. And outside of just traveling while I was there, I was able to get everything funded. So everything except for out-of-pocket costs while I was there. And so obviously I applied for as many scholarships as I could. I was awarded a scholarship through AIFS, a couple of scholarships through UW, and then a national scholarship. I can't remember which scholarship that was. And then a scholarship through like a scholarship I had already had. But then that obviously that wasn't enough for me to be able to cover everything. So I went out of my way to put work into finding other ways to fund my study abroad. And so the first way, obviously, I think a lot of people think of this through crowdfunding. You can use things like, what are the really popular ones, like GoFundMe, or even Facebook fundraisers. But another one that you can use is called Fund My Travel. And this one is specifically for travel costs. And this one allows you to post blog posts and keep those updated who went to fund specifically your education abroad experience. And you can even put it in there and say something like, you know, everybody who makes a donation of at least $10, I'll send a postcard to, or something along those lines. And so Fund My Travel is a really great way for students looking to study abroad. Something else that I did is I just wrote letters. People like handwritten letters. So I wrote handwritten letters to friends and family and any sort of connection that I could make, explaining how important this was to me, and if they could send anything, even if it was just a couple dollars, in a return envelope. I included a return envelope with a stamp. I would be eternally grateful. And I got a couple $100s from that. And then just fundraising in general, just get creative with it. Something that I did, I hosted a garage sale. So what I did was I reached out to people within our community, and I put out requests. So it's like, anything that you're looking at selling or getting rid of or donating, please donate it to me. I'll put it into a garage sale. And then I sold whatever was in that garage sale to earn money. It ended up being almost kind of like a full-time job for a month. It was actually a lot of fun organizing it and putting it all together. And then from that garage sale, I actually earned $2,500. So it was quite a bit of money from what seems like small, simple project. So just try and get creative and do whatever you can. And then this last one is just apply for as much as you can, even if it kind of stretches or doesn't seem like you aren't qualified to receive the scholarship. Apply anyway. You never know. Just do whatever you can to be able to put those funds together. It's what I did, and I was able to get that funded.
Great, thanks, Caitlin. All right, these are just some resources available to you all after this presentation. We have a great FAQ on our UWyoAbroad website. There is a point person within financial aid that we work with very closely who understands all of those differences in program types and what the costs are associated with direct enroll, exchange, program provider. And so we have a really nice partnership with Lori, and she's a great contact to have. We have a booklet, a PDF that has links with all of the information about these scholarships on our website, as well as if you are a UW student, WYO Scholarships is where you're going to be applying and searching for all of our on-campus scholarship opportunities. And we have a budget calculator as well on our website that allows you to put in the anticipated cost of your program, thinking about everything from public transportation in country to the cost of books to laundry to your flight there. So it's a really comprehensive.
What was that again?
Oh, the budget calculator. Caitlin, can you put that one in the chat?
Yeah, I actually just put a link in the chat that goes to our Money Matters page. If you click on that, there's a link down there that says budget calculator, costs and budgeting, financial aid and scholarships, that has that booklet that Shelley was saying, and then the funding FAQs. So if you just click on that link, that'll take you to all of these different locations.
Thanks so much. So we try to put as much information on our website. It's probably too much, but all of that does live there.
Better than enough.
Right. This just a real quick thanks for coming. If anyone is doing our SOAR program, there's the QR code for attending this event. We also have our contest that we're running this week for prizes. There's the QR code for that. And I think there is a clue on the next slide, but I'll give everybody a second to do these QR codes. And then I think we're ready for questions, right, Caitlin? If anybody has questions, feel free to unmute and ask or put them in the chat as well. And I will show you, here's the clue for our contest.
Yep, so this is one of the questions for the contest. There are several things that you can do, so just let us know, what events you attended, engage with us on Instagram, answer some of the questions that are found on the fair page, that virtual page, and then this clue. So at the end of the fair, there will be a secret location, and if you guess that, you'll get extra points for that as well.
Right. Here's some upcoming events that we're having. February 22nd is not only our Gilman Scholarship Workshop, but it's National Study Abroad Day, just a day to celebrate the opportunities that students have at universities to go overseas. We are hosting a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Week with some really exciting events with our partners, so look out for more details on that. We'll be having a Logistics While Abroad session in April, and then a visa info session on May 3rd. These are all will be posted on our website and university announcements, but we hope that we will see you at some of these as well. Yeah. All right, I'll stop sharing so that we can have questions if anyone has any.